Hello, everyone. I am Sean, and welcome again to My Horror Corner. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you tuning in. Today, we're talking about an interesting one: 2020's The Hunt. I don't own this movie, so I can't, show you anything special here. But I just watched it on Peacock. It's streaming free there if anyone wants to see it. If you haven't seen it already, but yeah, this was an interesting movie. I had seen this movie once before. Once it became available on streaming, I checked it out and honestly, I remembered the basic, like the plot, though, kind of what we were doing, but I didn't remember a lot of detail about this film, with just a couple of exceptions. So I think when I saw it the first time, I thought, yeah, okay, this is all right. And so I rewatched it this morning to get ready for this recording, and yeah, we'll see what my thoughts are on it after a rewatch. So let's go ahead and jump right in on The Hunt from 2020. Tagline for the film: Only designated people may be hunted at the manor. Brief synopsis: 12 strangers wake up in a clearing. They don't know where they are or how they got there. In the shadow of a dark internet conspiracy theory, ruthless elitists gather at a remote location to hunt humans for sport. But their master plan is about to be derailed when one of the hunted turns the tables on her pursuers. Film released March 13th of 2020, directed by Craig Zobel, written by Nick Hughes and Damon Lindelof. Runtime of 90 minutes, $14 million budget, only 12.4 million at the box office, but we'll get into partially why on that here in a little bit. I don't know how successful the film would have been regardless, but there was a reason why this movie didn't do as well. Cast for the film: Betty Gilpin, maybe how you say that. I'm not 100% sure. Hilary Swank, Emma Roberts, I believe it's Ike Barinholtz, Justin Hartley, and Amy Madigan. Let's stop there for a moment. We're going to talk cast, characters, cinematography, score, story, that whole thing. So we'll start with cast and characters. First of all, very solid cast. A lot of big names in this: Hilary Swank, Emma Roberts, Amy Madigan, Justin Hartley. Um, it's a solid cast. And I feel like the performances are good. I don't think anybody gives just an amazing, mind blowing performance here. This isn't, Emmy Award winning type stuff, but everybody's very solid. The performances are all good. The characters, though, this film struggles with something I feel like I know I've talked about in the past, but I feel like I've talked about it a lot here lately. And that is, I just don't find hardly any of these characters likable. And to be honest, I mean, we've got our hunters, right? They're not supposed to be likable. They're horrible people. They're hunting humans. So you're not supposed to like any of them. But even, the 12 strangers that wake up there in the clearing, and I didn't realize there were 12. I thought it was a little less than that, but 12 might be right. I'm trying to think now. Excuse me, I'm tired. Um, yeah, anyway, however many strangers it was, we don't really get to spend that much time with hardly any of them, with the exception of maybe two or three. And so you don't really get to determine whether you like these characters or not. We like some of the actors, right, that are portraying these characters. But some of these characters get taken out so quickly that we don't spend much time with them to know whether we like these people or not. Um, our main girl here, our final girl in this movie, I don't think the performance was bad, but I don't like this character, and I might be in the minority here. There might be a lot of people that watch this and love this character and this final girl, but I don't like her. I mean, she does some badass things. I'm like, she does some very cool stuff. She's a great survivor. There's, she's impressive, but I just don't like the character, the way she comes across. She seems odd at times, very strange. Um, yeah, I don't know. This was not. I feel like this movie would have been better for me had I have been more interested in this character. Like if I really liked this character and wanted to see her push through and get all these things done, that probably would have increased my enjoyment of the film. But I just don't like this character. I really don't. She just seems very odd to me. And a couple of the other characters that we get to spend a little more time with. One of them, um, I believe his name is Gary or Don. There's Don and Gary. I'm getting them mixed up here at the moment. I think Gary, yeah, that we get to spend a little bit of time with. He's a conspiracy theorist, which is fine. I know a lot of conspiracy theorists, but he's just odd as well. So I'm not like fully invested in him. And then the other guy, Don, who we get to spend a little bit of time with, we get kind of left hanging, and we never really find out whether he was one of the hunters or the hunted. That kind of gets left as a question. Um, and so you don't really know if you like him either. Initially, I thought I might like this character. I even thought maybe this would end up being my favorite character in the movie. But then we get this little plot thing happening there towards the end where we don't know whether he's a good guy or a bad guy, and we never really find out. So yeah, I struggle with the characters in this movie. I don't find myself fully supporting any of them. I just wasn't really invested or behind any of them. Obviously, some are worse than others. And again, nothing against the cast. I feel like all the performances were good. I just struggle with these characters. For the cinematography, I think the movie looks good. We get some good shots here. I like the setting. There's everything's fine. Nothing just amazing, but everything's fine. Score, one of those that I barely found myself noticing. So I'm not really sure what to say there. I try so hard since I've started doing this YouTube channel to pay more attention to the score. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and I find myself afterwards just like, okay, it was there, and that's really how I feel about this one. And as far as the story, I do like the story. I think the story is fun, where a lot of the political nonsense, where it comes from, that kind of thing. I mean, yeah, it's craziness to me, the way political parties are here in the States, and they're everybody's fucked up in my opinion. But the story's kind of fun, although I don't know if I liked the little twist at the end, but it is what it is. It's fine. So that being said, let's look at a couple of production notes. To start with, I mentioned earlier that we would talk about part of the reason the box office performance was so terrible, and that is the COVID-19 pandemic resulted in theaters closing within a week of this film's release, resulting in, I think the film was only in theaters, from what I saw, for about 3 days before theaters started shutting down. And so absolutely that affected this. And if it made 12.4 million in 3 days, then it probably would have gone on to do much, much better and made its money back and been fine. I think it went to streaming pretty quickly then after this happened. But yeah, COVID definitely had an effect on the performance of this film. The writers stated that the film is a satire on the political divide between the left wing and right wing in America. It's a funny take on it. But I can definitely see it. And politics is something that I don't like talking about because, again, I think both political parties are screwed up. The original title of the script was Red State versus Blue State, although later that was denied, but that is supposed to be out there. Mass shootings in Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso, Texas, pushed back the release of this film even more because of the gun violence. And of course, one of the things this film is the most known for is President Donald Trump was very upset by this film and spent a lot of time tweeting, criticizing the film and the film's message. That's all I got for production notes. But let's go ahead and get into the plot now and start to walk through this thing. Let me get one more drink of coffee. All right, let's do it. So we open up with this film with, we just see this group text that's going on between a small group of people, and it's mentioned in this group text about the upcoming hunt and killing deplorables. Then on a plane, we meet some people who were involved in this text, Richard, Ted. We see this man come stumbling out of the bathroom that seems to be acting kind of odd. Ted kind of restrains him a little bit, but the man is able to get away. I think Ted ends up stabbing him in the neck with a pin or something, but the man's still going. And then our Athena, who's kind of the leader of this group, played by Hilary Swank, ends up coming up behind the man. As he turns around, she stabs him in the eye with this heel, with her heel from her shoe. And then his body gets drug off, and we see some other bodies laying in this area as well. And that's the opening. Opening for the film is fine. I don't think there's anything here, again, that's just amazing, but it's kind of setting the stage for what's going on, and it's fine. The pin in the neck, the heel in the eye, both look good. So the special effects look good here. And yeah, it's a fine opening. I mean, again, nothing just incredible, but it's setting the stage for where we're going and setting up our film. And I think it is sufficient in what it's trying to do. From there, we end up then meeting our people. Please excuse me. I don't know why I get the yawns when I start recording. We get this group of people who's waking up in this forest. We do have Crystal, we have Don, we have Gary, and then a bunch of characters that if you look up like the IMDb or the Wikipedia or whatever for their names, we don't really get names. We just get titles for these characters based on the way they look. Like Emma Roberts' character is just called Yoga Pants. We get a lady with red hair, and her character's name is just Big Red. And then there's like Target, there's Vanilla Nice, there's Trucker. Yeah, just a lot of names here that aren't real names. But as they start waking up in this clearing, they have these locked gags on their mouth where they can't speak. And as they kind of start to wander out a little bit, they find this crate. One of them opens it up. This pig runs out, but then there ends up just being a lot of weapons in this plate. Emma Roberts' character finds the key to the gags, and so they were able to all get their gags removed from their faces. But then someone starts shooting at them, and Emma Roberts gets killed first, right off the bat. Quick death for her. She's gone. And then we just see several other of these people as they're trying to escape. There's another guy that gets shot. There's a woman that falls into a pit and gets like impaled on spikes. They end up getting her out of there, but the guy that gets her out of there, he then steps on a landmine, which blows up and kills him and her both. There is I'm trying to think here. There's another guy that ends up getting shot. I believe some of the remaining ones end up getting to this fence, this barbed wire fence, and they start trying to climb over it. One of them gets shot with a couple of arrows and then gets destroyed with a grenade. The other ones then run to a service station where they are told that they are in Arkansas, because again, they have no idea where they are. So they're told that they're in Arkansas by this older couple that's running the gas station. But then pretty quickly things go wrong there, and one of the girls that has escaped and gotten there, she eats this donut that turns out to be poison, which kills her. The older man there in the service station ends up pulling out a shotgun and shoots and kills one of the other guys, and then the older man and the older woman put on like these gas masks real quick and throw these gas things and end up poisoning the other person that got there. So all three of these people end up dying there at this gas station. They then get a call from Athena, and she lets them know that to get it cleaned up and that someone else is coming. And so then Crystal, who turns out to be our primary character in the film, arrives. She's kind of also trying to figure out what's going on. They also tell her that she's in Arkansas, and she goes to buy cigarettes from them. And when she realizes that the price of the cigarettes is much different, she knows something's wrong. She's able to get a hold of the shotgun, and she kills these two. And she basically tells them that where they messed up is that it's not what cigarettes cost in Arkansas. She then goes outside. She finds this pickup. She removes a fake license plate that says Arkansas and realizes that she is actually in Croatia. And then Gary, another one of the hunted, arrives there with her. So let me talk about this, because there's a lot that goes on here. The movie's pretty fun here, I feel like. Finding these characters in this clearing. They don't know where we are. If you've never seen the film before, you don't know where they are. They've got these gag things on that they're able to get off. And then you just get a lot of fun kills, really. I mean, the Emma Roberts kill is great. I hated seeing her die so early in the film, but that's part of it, The guy that steps on the landmine after he saves the girls, Justin Hartley, which I know him from playing Green Arrow in Smallville. And then I've seen him in a lot of other things as well. But, you just get a lot of quick deaths, but they're fun kills. And yeah, I mean, I was enjoying this. Some of the kills I remembered, some of them I didn't. I remembered the setting. But yeah, I mean, it's fairly fun here. And then this older couple, which the woman there in the gas station is Amy Madigan. That's all fine when you find out they're in on it as well. I mean, so far, I was fully invested. I was enjoying what I was watching. Where I start to struggle is, again, with the character of Crystal. I mean, she's supposed to be our main character here. When she shows up at the gas station and figures things out, the film's kind of there's a lot of comedy to the film. Some of it doesn't land for me, which hurts a little bit as well. I mean, there are a few funny things that happen here and there, but like I said, some of it just doesn't quite land as far as I'm concerned. And then her character just seems so odd that I like everything that's happened here, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know, something about the final girl that I'm not into here at the moment. So I really, again, I like the setup. I like where we've started off. I like the kills. The movie seems like it's a lot of fun. I'm just not fully invested in characters, and that was really the only struggle that I was having at this point in the film. But yeah, so far so good. I mean, we're fine. Crystal and Gary end up leaving. They come across these train tracks, and they're following the tracks. Train ends up coming by, and they're able to jump on the train to try to escape, but they then discover that the train is full of refugees. Gary's not buying it. He thinks it's all actors because he's, again, this conspiracy guy. The Croatian soldiers show up and end up raiding the train. One of the refugees turns out to be a hunter, which Gary had kind of called out. Gary ends up getting a grenade away from him and kills him. But then Crystal is taken by these soldiers to a refugee camp, and we meet Don, another survivor from this incident. A gentleman from the embassy arrives to save them and get them out of there. But while they're driving away, Crystal starts to suspect him a little bit. She ends up kicking him out of the car and then running over him. And then her and Don find Gary's body in the trunk. And so they quickly realize that this guy was not from the embassy there to save them. He was there from this group of elitists, and he was taking them back to where the rest of the group was so they could be killed as well. Again, fine. I'm still just really struggling with being fully invested in our main character here. I almost compare this character a little bit to the character. I can't talk. The character of Erin, I think was her name in You're Next, which I absolutely love that movie and really love that character, but I just wasn't getting the same. I don't know. The characters are similar, but I just don't like this Crystal character, and it's really bothering me at this point in the movie. As we're a little over halfway through now, I'm kind of struggling with it a little bit. Crystal and Don end up getting to the place where a lot of the hunters are staying. And then we just get several things. Crystal has this battle with a lot of these hunters. She slits one of their throats. She shoots a couple of them. One of them gets stabbed. But then we hear Athena come through on the radio and start talking to Don. And Crystal's now confused a little bit because Don gets a gun. And Don's trying to tell Crystal that he's not really one of the hunters, that Athena is just trying to throw Crystal off. Crystal doesn't know what to believe, so she ends up killing Don. Crystal, there's one more hunter there that she's wounded but not killed yet that she starts talking to. We find out that Crystal was served in Afghanistan, so she's a soldier. That's why she has these skills that she has. She gets a little bit of information out of this other guy before she kills him. And then we see Athena, and it's kind of like we kind of go back in time a little bit, and we see Athena arriving at a meeting at work, and where she's in a lot of trouble and ends up getting fired. And we find out that this text message that we saw at the beginning of the film was just a joke, that they really didn't have all of this planned out, that it was just a joke. But the text thread got leaked, and all of the people involved ended up losing their careers. A lot of people thought this was real, and it got out there, so and it ruined these people's careers. And so all of these hunters were actually people that had these jobs that were fired because of this joke text message. And so then because of that, they decide to make the hunt real and start abducting people who had spread the theory, and it caused them to lose their jobs. Crystal then arrives where Athena is. And let me stop for a second before I get into that. So here is where I'm like, okay. I mean, I was kind of enjoying the story, but to add this little bit of a twist that it wasn't real. And I mean, I know what the film is trying to do here, with how quickly things get out, and, social media and the internet spreads things that aren't true. I mean, I know where the film is trying to go and the message is trying to deliver, but for me, it took away from it a little bit, because what I was trying to figure out then is we feel like these people are all supposed to be elite hunters, right? And then now we find out that it wasn't even real in the first place until they all lost their jobs, and now they've become elite hunters. And even the character Athena of Hilary Swank, how did they get to be so badass so quick then? If it wasn't a real thing, how did this happen? So it's just kind of awkward to me. I don't really like that twist to the story. As I said, Crystal, where Crystal's fighting these hunters, I mean, again, it's fine. This is really just like an action movie. I mean, I feel like at this point we're watching, any 80s action film where we've seen, the action hero battle these people and get them all killed. Nothing special here. It's fine. Not as enjoyable as the kills in the beginning of the film. Crystal arrives where Athena is, and she comes across Athena, and they begin to talk a little bit. Crystal explains to Athena that she got the wrong Crystal. There's another Crystal May that grew up in the same town that was talking about this stuff, but it wasn't her. Athena doesn't really believe her, and the two begin to fight. And then we get a very it's almost like the Matrix, just this crazy ass fight scene going on between Athena and Crystal, and where, yeah, I mean, okay, Crystal is a former soldier. Don't know how Athena got these skills. It's okay, but it's a little over the top, and I think it's supposed to be. I mean, I think that's the way they wanted this to be, and I'm sure action movie fans love it. I like action movies as well, but I was just kind of, I don't know, by this point, not being invested in the character of Crystal, I was starting to get a little tired of the movie, and kind of getting a little tired of the, um, again, some of the jokes weren't landed. Some of the stuff is heavy handed and over the top. And I was starting to get a little bit tired of it at this point. Still not disliking the movie, but just not enjoying it as much as I was in the beginning either. Finally, both Crystal and Athena end up getting impaled. Athena dies, but Crystal is able to survive. Uh, she has a Rambo moment where she, cauterizes her wounds, and then she takes some of Athena's clothes and gets dressed. She takes Athena's dog, and she leaves on Athena's jet. And as the film ends, we see her talking to the same flight attendant that we saw some of the hunters talking to in the beginning of the film, back when they killed that first person on the plane. And that's The Hunt from 2020. Um, I hate to say this, but I think I was so uninterested in our main character in this film, and just not buying into them and being really a fan of them, that during this final fight scene between Crystal and Athena's obviously the bad guy here, right? I mean, she's the one that put this whole thing together. Um, but I think I was just so uninto our main character, and I like Hilary Swank, who plays Athena, that at this point I'm like, I kind of hope that the bad guy wins here. I mean, I almost hope that Hilary Swank kills this other girl, and that could be the way this movie ends. It's not, but I think I would have liked that better, just because I don't like the main character in this film. And I can't completely put my finger on her, other than just she's really odd, and just, I don't know, just not fully buying it, I guess. And so there's a few things that hurt this movie for me, that I've kind of talked about here a little bit. I mean, overall, it's not a bad film. I just don't think it's a really good film either. There are some good kills. There are some fun scenes. There's a little bit of humor here and there. But again, very heavy handed, very over the top, and just kind of really lands in the middle for me. My scale of 1 to 10, I would give The Hunt a 5 out of 10. It's just it gets classified a lot of times as a horror movie. I don't see the horror element in it at all. It's a survivalist movie. So, I know there are some survivalist films that I really enjoy, and I do think have a scary aspect to them. This one's so over the top and with the humor mixed in. There's never a moment where I feel like there's fear, tension, that kind of thing. This is just a very middle of the road average movie, in my opinion. So 5 out of 10 for me on The Hunt. But I'm very curious to know what you think. I've said this multiple times. One of my favorite things about doing this YouTube channel is seeing what you have to say about these movies I talk about. So please hit the like button today on the video, and then leave me some comments. If you've seen this film, I want to know what you think about it. Do you really enjoy it? Do you not like it at all? Or do you find it pretty middle of the road? And what are your thoughts on the character of Crystal? Am I just missing something completely here by not being invested, or what? So I want to know what you think about this movie and about these characters. So please leave me some comments and let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I've got, let's see, an episode coming up later this week on ginger snaps that I'll be talking about. Tonight, I am going to be live on A&B Horror Movies YouTube channel for a live stream we're doing there. Tomorrow night, Brendan from Our Life in Horror returns, and he and I are going to be on my channel live. He went through the entire Scream franchise with me here in the last few months, and so we're going to come back now and rank the 7 Scream films and just kind of wrap up the whole franchise in general on a live. So again, live tonight on A&B Horror, live tomorrow night on my channel with Brendan from Our Life in Horror, and still got ginger snaps coming up this week as well. So fun stuff coming. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. Again, like, comment, hype, share, do all the things with the video. Follow me on social media. I'm pretty much on everything out there: Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok, Letterboxd. Just search Sean's Horror Corner. You can find it there. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, subscribe, hype, like, comment, share, all the things, and I will see you soon. Bye.